The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was never silent. Even when meetings were calm, there was always some noise. The sound of alien voices, the hum of translation drones, the clicking of insectoid claws against the marble floor. Today, the silence was heavy. 1,000 eyes, in 100 different shapes, were looking at one thing. It was not the golden banners of the hall. It was not the great holographic map of the galaxy. They were looking at an empty chair. It was a large, strong chair made of dark wood from Earth's forests. The flag of Earth stood beside it, a blue and green world on a black background. For centuries, that chair had never been empty. Every meeting, the humans were there, speaking loudly, arguing fiercely, and making deals no one else dared to make but today.
No one sat there.
Ambassador Tavor of the Voshk looked around, his scaled fingers twitching. "This is not possible," he hissed. "The humans never miss a council day. Never." The council speaker, a tall avian from the Kalari Republic, tapped her talons on the table. "We received no message, no delay notice, no request to postpone." Her sharp eyes scanned the room. Earth has not spoken. Low whispers spread like a wave. "They have left the council." "No, impossible then, where are they?" For some, the empty chair was a small thing, just one species absent from a political meeting. But to the oldest members of the council, it was terrifying, because they remembered the truth when humans went silent. Wrong. 3 hours into the meeting, the first sign came. Communication drone flew into the chamber, its hull scorched, its antenna bent. It carried an urgent message. The guards moved to intercept, but the drone ignored them and flew directly to the center of the hall. Its voice, though damaged, was clear, to all who can hear. "This is Earth's command. This message is for every living being in the galaxy." Speaker's crest feathers rose. "This is not standard protocol," the drone continued, cutting her off. "We are leaving the council. This is final. We'll not return." The hall erupted. Dozens of alien voices shouted over each other, "Leaving. Why? This will cause chaos. They cannot do this." The drone ignored them all. 2. "The council, we thank you for the years of cooperation, but your politics are slow, your vision too short. There is a storm coming. You cannot stop it. You are not ready. We will not waste more time." A nervous clicking sound came from the insectoid Kark representative. "What storm? What enemy?" The drone paused. Then, as if the voice itself grew heavier, it spoke. "You will see it soon enough." And with that, the drone's core glowed. Bright, it erased itself, burning into nothing but a wisp of smoke. Silence returned to the hall, but this time it was worse. It was not the silence of confusion, it was the silence of fear. Admiral Raykor of the Euron Union stood slowly. His people had fought alongside humans in 3 wars. "I know them," he said in a deep voice. "They do not run. If they leave, it means they are preparing for something bigger than all of us." A younger delegate laughed nervously. "Maybe they are just tired of our politics. Humans are dramatic, yes?" No one laughed with him for the rest of the meeting. The council tried to focus on other matters, trade routes, border disputes, resource rights. But every glance kept drifting back to the empty chair. When the session ended, council speaker stood alone in the hall looking at the flag of Earth. She remembered the first day the humans had joined. They had come with bold promises. "We will stand with you. We will fight for the galaxy, together." Now they had walked away without explanation. And somewhere, in the cold darkness beyond the mapped stars, humanity was moving, but no one knew where or why. The only thing they knew was the last line of the message. It echoed in her mind like a shadow creeping closer. "There is a storm coming." The Galactic Council met again the next day. But the air in the chamber was different now. It was heavier. No one spoke loudly. Even the loudest species kept their voices low, as if afraid the humans might somehow hear. The empty chair was still there. This time, it felt less like an absence, and more like a warning. Ambassador Tavor of the Voshk slammed his scaled fist on the table. "This cannot stand. Humanity must explain itself. We demand answers. Admiral Rakor of the Huron Union growled. They will not answer. If they wanted to speak, they would still be here. The council speaker spread her wings, trying to calm the room. We cannot make decisions on fear. We must investigate. We will search for any signs. A thin, nervous voice interrupted her. It was Ambassador Rel from the Chivani Alliance. My government has received a fragment of information. Classified. It may explain something. Every eye turned toward him. Rel shifted uncomfortably in his seat, his small hands trembling. 3 weeks ago, one of our deep space probes detected an abandoned colony world. No life signs. No damage from natural causes. But he looked down at the table as if ashamed. We found something on the surface. A small metal disc. Weapon part? Asked Tavor. No, Rel said softly. A coin, human currency, old design, was placed on a stone. Like a message, the room went silent. Everyone understood. Humans left tokens like that for a reason, as a mark. In war, it meant we were here. Admiral Rakor's voice was grim. The colony was not human, and yet, their sin. The council speaker tapped her talons in thought. This means Earth knew about the attack. They knew before anyone else, and they said nothing. Why would they stay silent? Asked a young delegate. RI Corps' answer was immediate, because they are preparing and because they think we are not ready. Before more could be said, the chamber's security alarms blared. A holographic feed appeared above the table. It was Earth's ambassador. He looked calm, too calm. His uniform was spotless, his face unreadable. I am here only to deliver a final statement, he said. Effective immediately, I resign my post. Earth will no longer send diplomats. To this council, the speaker leaned forward. Ambassador, why? What is this storm you speak of? The human's gaze hardened. It is something you cannot face as you are now, and if we told you everything, you would not believe us, Tavor bared. His teeth. You are abandoning us. The human's lips curved slightly, not in humor but in something colder. No, we are doing what we must to make sure you survive, even if you hate us for it. Screen cut to static. For a long moment, no one moved. The sound of the alarms faded, but the tension remained. The council speaker finally spoke. We must decide, do we pursue them, or do we prepare for this storm? But deep inside, she knew neither option would be simple. Because whatever Earth was doing out there, far from the council's eyes, they were doing it alone. And, in her mind, a single thought repeated, if the humans thought they needed time to prepare, then what chance did the rest of the galaxy have? It began slowly. At first, the Galactic Council thought it was just bad luck. A few broken trade routes, a starship going missing, a colony not answering calls. These things happened from time to time. But then, it kept happening. 1 week, a mining station in the Harvan Belt went silent. The next week, 3 border patrol ships vanished near the Kaleri frontier. By the 3rd week, 2 entire systems with billions of lives had stopped sending transmissions, and there was never any distress signal, no warning, just silence. Ambassador Tavor of the Vache stared at the reports. This is not coincidence, he said quietly. Something is moving in the dark. Admiral Arkor agreed, and the humans knew. That's why they left. The council tried to act. Fleets were sent to investigate. Scout ships were launched into the black. None came back. The fear in the chamber was growing. Species that had once laughed at the idea of danger now spoke in whispers. The council speaker had trouble keeping order. Every meeting turned into a storm of accusations. They are doing this. One delegate shouted, "It's the humans. They are behind it," Kor said firmly. If it were them, you would know. When humans attack, they do not hide. This is something else. That same day, something new happened. Encrypted. Data core appeared in the hands of the Turkon Intelligence Service. They claimed it was stolen from a human military convoy. The council demanded to see it. When the encryption was finally broken, a single image filled the chamber. Gasps and hisses filled the air. It was a fleet, an armada. Not like any fleet in the galaxy. These ships were huge, jagged, and black as the void. They were bristling with weapons, their designs alien to every database. No known species built ships like these. There. Beautiful, one young envoy whispered. They're monsters, another replied, on the edge of the image, barely. Visible were the remains of a warship. It was human. Its hull was torn open, its engines dead, and its flag was scorched black. Tavora's voice trembled. If they have ships like that, and they can destroy human warcraft, what chance do we have? The council speaker turned to Admiral Rakor. Could this be the storm? Rakor's jaw tightened. It is not a storm. It is a war. And it has already begun. Some members of the council wanted to reach out to the humans to beg for help. Others said it was too late, that Earth had walked away for good. But none could agree on what to do next, and while they argued, the shadows kept spreading. Stars went dark. Worlds went silent, and the enemy armada drew closer to the council's borders. Somewhere far beyond the rim, humanity was watching. And waiting, it happened without warning. One moment, the council's outer border was quiet. The next, it was on fire. The black armored armada appeared in the Clary sector. Hundreds of massive warships emerging from the void like predators. Within minutes, entire defense fleets were torn apart. Missiles vanished against strange, shifting shields. Energy beams split ships in half with a single strike. On the council's main communication grid, desperate voices filled the air. This is Patrol Wing 7. We are static. Planet Korad is under attack. Static. All ships fall ba. Static in the council chamber. Chaos reigned. Admirals shouted for reinforcements. Governors begged for evacuation fleets. The speaker's voice barely rose above the noise. We need every ship at the border. But deep inside, they all knew the truth. Their fleets had never faced an enemy like this. In the middle of the battle, Admiral Rakoris comes officer shouted. Unknown contacts incoming. Sector 3. Arkowar turned to the display and froze. The new contacts were huge. Their hulls were sleek, silver gray. They were human. Dozens of massive dreadnoughts dropped out of faster-than-light travel, forming a wall between the alien armada and the surviving council ships. The largest of them, the Iron Resolve, was nearly 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapons, and they opened fire. Human kinetic slugs punched through enemy armor like paper. Their plasma lances sliced enemy warships in half. Where council fleets had been slaughtered, humans tore into the attackers with brutal precision. Council captains watched in shock as the tide turned. This is Captain Vroth, the humans. Are they holding the line? A message broke through every channel. It was a human voice, cold and steady. This is not your war. Not yet. Stay out of our way. Some council officers tried to argue, but the humans cut them off, sealing their communication lines. It was clear Earth had not returned to rejoin the council. They had returned for this. For hours the battle raged. The alien armada lost ship after ship, but even as they fell, more kept coming. The humans fought like a blade cutting through the dark, but it was clear this enemy was not yet defeated. Finally, the enemy retreated, slipping back into the void. The surviving council fleets were silent, staring at the wreckage of thousands of ships drifting in space. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, the human commander watched the enemy disappear. His second officer approached. They'll be back, the commander said. And when they return, the galaxy will have to choose. The battle was over, but the galaxy did not feel safe. The black armored enemy had retreated, leaving only wreckage and silence. Entire council worlds still burned. Billions were dead. In the council chamber, the mood was no longer angry. It was desperate. Every representative demanded the same thing. Bring the humans back. Admiral Rakor stood before the speaker's podium. You saw what they did. Without them, we would be dust in the void. We must unite under their command before it's too late. Tavor slammed his claws on the table. They have the strength, the weapons, the knowledge. Why keep them out? The council speaker's voice was heavy. We have sent envoys. To Earth, all were refused. She activated a holoscreen. On it appeared the human commander from the Iron Resolve. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard. You ask why we do not return? He began. Because your politics will slow us. Your pride will blind you. This enemy does not wait for debates or treaties. We fight it our way, and we will not be chained by your rules.
Dada growled.
You expect us to sit and wait for death? Commander leaned forward. No. We expect you to prepare, to build fleets that can survive in the dark, to train soldiers who do not break, to strip away every weakness you still cling to. Only then will you be ready. The speaker tried once more, and when we are ready, the human's voice lowered. Then we will come back, and we will fight together. But understand this, the galaxy will follow our lead, not yours. The connection ended. For a long time, no one spoke. The council had ruled for centuries, believing themselves the center of power. Now, they understood. Earth had walked away. But they had not abandoned the galaxy. Far from council space, the human fleets moved in silence. Thousands of warships, armed with weapons no other species had seen, sailed into the black. They were heading for the heart of enemy territory alone, on the Iron Resolve. The commander stood on the bridge, looking into the endless dark. His second officer approached. Do you think they'll be ready when the war reaches them? Commander's eyes stayed on the stars. They have no choice. Outside, the human fleet vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving the galaxy with one truth. Earth was fighting for them, but the price of walking away was that the galaxy had to learn to fight for itself. Months had passed since the humans left the council's borders. In that time, the galaxy had changed. The enemy, the black-armored armada, had not returned in force, but its shadow was everywhere. Trade routes were still broken. Colonies lived in fear, and the council was no longer the same species that once argued endlessly, now trained together. New warships were being built in every shipyard. The lessons from Earth's warning were carved into every military order. No hesitation, no weakness. But still, it was not enough. Reports began to arrive from the rim sectors, not of entire fleets vanishing, but of something stranger. Enemy ships were scouting, testing defenses, leaving small worlds destroyed without reason. It was a slow tightening of the noose. In the shadows of a hidden asteroid base, the human fleet watched. The Iron Resolve floated silently among the stars, surrounded by hundreds of dreadnoughts, carriers, and escort ships. On the bridge, Commander Hale studied a massive star map. The enemy movements were forming a pattern, a ring around council space. They're not raiding, he said quietly. They're building a kill box. His second officer frowned. If they close the ring, they'll crush the council in one strike. Hale finished. He turned to the comms officer. Send the message. Hours later, in the council chamber, the speaker received an encrypted signal. It was short, direct, and in the same human voice that had once told them to prepare. We are calling you in. This is the last stand before the dark. Within a day, the largest fleet in galactic history assembled, human dreadnoughts. At the front, council cruisers and carriers behind. Some captains still doubted Earth's leadership. Others were simply afraid. But when the humans set a course straight into enemy territory, the galaxy followed. The final battle began at the edge of a dying star. The black-armored armada was waiting, thousands of ships in tight formation. Their weapons lit the void in blinding flashes. The first minutes were chaos. Council ships were torn apart in waves, but human dreadnoughts cut openings in the enemy. Massive kinetic slugs ripped through the black holes. Plasma beams burned entire enemy wings from the sky. Commander Hale's voice was steady over the comms. Hold the line. Every meter we take here is a meter the enemy will never get back. Hours passed. The battle raged without pause. At the time the dying star's light began to fade, the enemy fleet was broken. Their command ship exploded in a fireball brighter than the sun. The cost was beyond measure. Thousands of ships gone. Millions dead. But the ring was shattered. The enemy's advance was stopped. For now, on the Iron Resolve, Hale stood in silence, watching the wreckage drift past. His second officer asked, "Is it over?" Hale shook his head slowly. Oh, this was just the first wall they sent against us. The real storm is still coming. Far beyond the battlefield in the deep void between galaxies, something stirred. A fleet so vast it blotted out the stars. And this time, it was not moving slowly. The humans had bought the galaxy time.